Hello everyone, Leah here for Clarence Media, and today I'm having a chat with Dr. Greg Clancy. Greg is running for the Greens Party in the upcoming state election. Thank you for taking the time to have a chat to us today.
Yeah, thank you, Leah.
So again, I've got my trusty clipboard here so that I don't forget anything. So firstly, what inspired you to pursue a career in politics? And what are your core values that guide your decisions?
Well, it's my core values that decided me to go into politics. The main thing was that I'm a scientist. I've spent my whole life studying and working as a scientist, and I just don't believe politicians generally listen to the science. Some do, and it's great, but not enough. So I thought, if the politicians aren't going to listen to the scientists, then scientists have to become politicians. And my core values are honesty and integrity and openness generally. So it's just me. I can't be any different. So, and I know some people don't trust politicians, and I think it's unfortunate because I'm sure a lot of politicians are honest and open, but party politics can get in the way, and people can't always be honest. So that's why I joined the Greens, because we have very liberal policies and ability to speak out.
Yep. And what policies have you championed in the past, and what have been the results of those policies?
Well, ever since I was a schoolboy, I've been interested in working to protect the natural environment. That's my passion, the environment. And of course, mixed in with that is looking after people. Because if you don't look after people, then they can't look after the environment. So it works in together. It was something I had to learn. Initially, I was just so narrow in my view that the plants and the animals were all that counted. But then I realised that humans are all part of it. We're animals, and we have to we have to have a good community where everyone and everything is looked after.
Yep, definitely. How do you plan to promote economic growth and job creation in the Clarence electorate? And what policies would you support to achieve these goals?
Well, it depends on what sort of economic development you want. We have to maintain the natural character of the valley. That's why people are here. People move here, and then jobs are not always easy, particularly for young people. A lot of young people have to move away. But we can't bring in big dirty industry just so we can employ people. But I think we have a vibrant community already. I don't see that we need to have too much jobs and growth, because we need to look after the people we've got here, and we need to make sure that those people do have jobs if they want and if they can. And so small business is the sort of the backbone of this area, and I think we need to encourage that. And if that grows, that's fine. But growth in itself is not an aim that I agree with, because growth means if you have more and more people, too many people, you then have all these needs for more infrastructure, and it's sort of a dog chasing its tail. So I'd like to see the area stabilise with a reasonable population, a reasonable standard of living, and mainly looking after the natural features, the river and the bush and the farming areas. We need the farming areas too. So I'm just not a real jobs and growth sort of person, really. And but we do support. Certainly, we support people working, and our policies are mainly there to make sure that people are properly looked after in the workforce, and that small business is encouraged. So so it's as I say, it's maybe not what people expect. They might want us to say we want thousands and thousands more people here in big dirty industry, but we're not going to say that.
And what do you think is the most pressing issue facing people of the Clarence electorate, and how are you looking at addressing it?
Well, there's a whole lot of issues, but basically under the umbrella of climate change, we have to take action on climate change, and at all levels of government we have to take action, and we are. There's action at all levels, and some of it is not good enough, and we need to improve that. But linked up with climate change is the sixth great extinction of species. And if we lose species, that throws the whole natural balance out, and that affects humans as well as the animals. So they're the two things. Climate change in particular, because the impacts are on us as well because of the fire, the more extensive and intensive fires that we've had, 2019, 2020, devastated areas in the Clarence, but also up and down the coast. The floods, look at the floods. I mean, the Clarence was hit, but Lismore was hit worse. But we certainly had flooding in Yamba and other Brushgrove and other places like that. So they're natural things that have always been happening, but with climate change, they're happening more often and they're happening at a greater intensity. So, and the storms, severe storms, we're getting a lot of those as well. So we are seeing the impacts of climate change, and that's what we have to try to address. And the extinction issue, I've been fighting for a long time to protect the natural environment, and we should all be doing that.
Yeah. Thank you. And how do you plan to address the issue of political polarization and bring people from different backgrounds and viewpoints together?
It's a difficult one because people do get set in their ways, particularly in which party they vote for. You know, my father voted for that party and his father voted for it, and it's very sad because people are not being open-minded. And I think if people just become more open-minded, look at the policies, not listen to the rhetoric on the radio. I mean, Greens, we cop a bagging as being off the planet. You know, we're not realistic. We're trying to close everything down and all that sort of stuff. It's rubbish. If you actually look at our policies are policies to support people and the environment. They're not to stop it. They're not, but they're ones that we have to tread lightly because often what humans are doing is damaging the environment, and it's often not good for people either. So I would like to see the stigma attached to being a Green eliminated because, you know, I'm a person like anyone else. I'm a ratepayer and I'm a voter. And I suffer from the same things that everyone else does. When there's a flood, where there's a bushfire, you know, I suffer too. And we have a lot of answers for these. And unfortunately, a lot of people aren't listening because they think we're off the planet. But if you actually look at some of the other political parties, there's some people in those parties that are way off the planet. So I'd like to think the Greens have got our feet firmly on the ground.
And if people want to find out more about you, your party and the policies, where should they go to find you?
Well, they can go to the internet or they can phone me. I've got 3 Facebook pages basically. There's my personal one and there's my councillor one, and then there's the Dr. Greg Clancy for Clarence. So if you go into Facebook, you can get in through that. And the Clarence Greens have also got a Facebook page. But my phone number's in the book, and it's available, and also on council. My phone number is on the council website, even though I can't use council facilities, but the phone's mine.
And is there anything else that you'd like to add before we finish up?
No, look, I just think it's an important election. We've got a retiring member, and I think it's a chance now for a change. And I would like to see people think about who they're going to vote for. And if they're a bit worried about some of the Greens policies, go onto the website and have a look. New South Wales Greens. The policies are wonderful. They're realistic, and they're there to help people in the environment. And look, I may not agree with every fine detail of every policy, but in broad sense, I support the policies, and people should have a look at them. And if they want to criticise me or the Greens, have a look at the policies first, rather than from what some radio jock said on the morning show, having a go at the Greenies. You know, it really does get to me at times. I think, oh, it's so sad that people like to write us off without really understanding where we're coming from and what the policies are. So thank you for your time.
No, thank you for your time, and good luck on the 25th.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.